How wonderful this prison is. The food eaten by the prisoners is carefully cooked by a 5-star chef. Everything from delicacies to delicacies. Countless people are trying to break their heads and come in, but it would be great if the person who came in could live. This is a prison that cannot be seen at a glance. Arrange 2 inmates on each floor with basic living conditions. Curly hair wakes up. I have already arrived across from the prison. Sitting an old man, prison mate told him. Their location is on the 48th floor. I haven't waited for Curly to introduce myself yet. The old man picked up the pillow, kneeled down with a plop. A suspended platform has been lowered above. All that's on top is food. The old man immediately wolfed down. Curly hair at a glance. The food here is already all kinds of residue. Curly, I understand. If there are 47 floors above, so the food that came to him was leftover food that 94 people had eaten. The old man advised Curly hair to eat some, because it's just 1 meal a day. Curly picked up an apple and put it in his pocket. The food platform is going down 1 level. Suddenly, the curly hair feels hot. The old man explained that, because you stole the food, so the temperature of this layer will rise infinitely, until we were burned to death. Frightened, Curly quickly threw the apple away. The old man continued to say, it's already very good on the 48th floor. Last month, I am on the 132nd floor. Guess what? Don't talk about food anymore. There's not even bone residue left. Even on these dozens of floors, there are often people like you who can't bear it, and then jumped off a building to commit suicide. Just finished speaking, a corpse fell downstairs. Curly hair was stunned. You haven't eaten anything in a month. How did you survive? The old man looked at the knife in his hand. Long silence, finally speaking up. At that time, someone wanted to commit suicide. Just after falling to the 132nd floor, you will understand. It's normal for anything to fall or move. It's time for dinner the next day. On today's food, there's actually another woman. Curly hair is a bit inexplicable. I want to see if he needs any help. But the woman only looked up at him once. There was no response. The old man said, he comes down once a month. Find your own children layer by layer. The dining table continues to decline. I saw 2 men on the 47th floor, who had been locked up for an unknown amount of time. I couldn't hold back long ago. These 2 men are simply insane. When you see women, grab them and lift them off the table. Prepare to plot against evil intentions. Curly hair is upstairs feeling anxious. The floor is too high. Jumping down is neither dead nor disabled. He can only shout loudly from above. After a while, this woman actually climbed back onto the dining table. The blood stains on our faces tell us. Those 2 guys have been killed by him for a month now. I'll be there in a blink of an eye. That night, the old man suddenly said, pray for us both. I can smell the smell of anesthetic gas. Tomorrow we will be placed on another floor. I hope we don't fall too low. As soon as they spoke, they fell asleep. Wait until Curly wakes up. He's already covered in fabric. The old man appeared with his knife. Brothers, it seems that our luck is not very good. This is a 171st floor. There won't be any food on this floor. It's not long before it's time for dinner again. Sure enough, there's nothing left. The old man continued to tell him, you don't have to be afraid for now. I won't kill you yet. I only cut a few pieces of meat from you every time. Don't be nervous. I don't know yet. Let's start next week. Curly remembered the old man's knife. Everyone can bring something to prison, and all he brought was a book. Perhaps the old man's previous roommate also suffered the same fate. That's it. Curly hair tied to the bed for a whole week. The old man finally couldn't hold on. He lifted the knife and stabbed it into his curly thigh. At this point, the dining table is lowered. The woman happens to be on top too. He wanted to repay Curly hair, neatly wiped the old man's neck. Curly hair fainted weakly. Wait for him to open his eyes again. Women are lying on the old man eating meat. He handed Curly a piece. Curly hair is in unbearable pain, but his desire to survive ultimately led him to choose to live. In a daze, he relied on eating rotting corpses. When it's time to switch floors, wait until he wakes up again. We have arrived at the 33rd floor. The woman in front of her is holding a dog. He's a bit familiar with his face. Originally, it was the staff who brought in Curly hair. I don't know why I came here, he said. This prison pit has a total of 200 floors. The food we prepared is enough for everyone to eat. But if the upper class eats too much, the lower class won't have to eat anymore. He is very disciplined. Eat only a small amount every day, and persuade the people downstairs to restrain their appetite as well. Leave more people below. But those downstairs don't listen at all. Prison inmates advise every day, but they never succeed. Until this day, Curly hair cannot be seen. Come out and say, if you don't eat less, I just poop on your food. This sentence truly suppressed the people downstairs. I have to obediently follow suit. As soon as the inmate hears this, it works. So I discussed with Curly hair, do you think we can persuade the upper class? But Curly didn't pay attention to him, because he can't shit up there. Roommates become disheartened. He completely explained it to Curly. He has been working here for 25 years. Apart from what was mentioned earlier, I have no knowledge of this prison. Recently, he discovered that he had cancer. So before he dies, he wants to make some changes to this prison. But I really don't know what else I can do in this situation right now. In a blink of an eye, another month has passed. Wake up this time. Curly hair was stunned. 212 floors. He lowered his head and looked down. This prison still has no end in sight. It seems that internal personnel do not understand either. This prison. Looking at prison friends again. He actually hanged himself. Perhaps he also knows. What do these 212 floors mean? In the pain caused by hunger, Curly once again walked towards the body. This man is too scary, all eating human flesh. But in this prison, to survive. But I can't treat myself like a person. Curly hair in bitter torment. Finally, the day of rebirth has arrived. There are 6 floors prominently written on the wall. Curly Fur can finally catch his breath, and his cellmate is an optimistic and strong man. Dahe wants to leave here every day. This is the closest he has ever been to the top floor. His escape method is very simple. It's about pleasing people from the upper echelons. He pulled the rope and climbed up. But when he was halfway there, the upper class suddenly let go of their hands. Curly, save him with a hand. Dahe cried and screamed without the rope. His escape plan will never come to fruition. Not long ago, there's plenty of food coming, almost never moved. They ate for a while and the food went down again. Curly saw that the people on the 7th floor had already started to waste food. He came up with a plan to change the world. Told Dahe, 2 people walking down, control the amount of food consumed per layer. Try to distribute to each layer as much as possible. Finally, follow the platform to the top. Dahe agreed. 2 people prepare weapons. Start down the first 50 floors. They don't allow people to eat. All the way down. Intimidate along the way. Going down there, people are a bit crazy. They had to start using violence. Starting from the 51st floor, they distribute food to the lower levels. The scene in front of us becomes more brutal. I'm young and strong, ready to eat my 6 cellmate, but more people are already dead. The platform continues to decline. They can no longer imagine how many floors there are in this bottomless prison. Next, Curly saw the woman who had saved her before, unexpectedly killed by 2 big men, Curly and Big Black. It was not easy to get rid of them both. They are also exhausted themselves, seriously injured. Finally, the 2 of them arrived at the bottom 333 floors of the prison. Unexpectedly, they found a girl here. It seems that this is a woman's child, right? Just a few layers away. Seeing a child very hungry, Curly and the black man gave him the cake they were guarding to death to eat. If we could save a life, the value of the cake might be even greater. I don't know how long it took. Dahe lost too much blood and died. Curly Hair is no longer able to return. In a beam of white light, Curly Hair sent the little girl to the bottom layer, and Curly turned around and headed towards endless darkness. If not as expected, the end of prison may be hell, right? Thus, the movie ends.